Yahweh is nigh unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. Yahweh, he also will hear their cry and will save them. Yahweh preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. My mouth shall speak the praise of Yahweh, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever. But we will bless Yahweh from this time forth and even forevermore. Hallelujah. Basham, Yahweh Shi, Hamashiach. And hallowed be his great name.
Amen.
Throughout the world which he has created according to his will, may he establish his kingship, bring forth his redemption, and hasten the coming of his Messiah, the wide King of Yasharallah, and Yahweh Shi HaMashiach, King of kings and Lord of lords, Lion of the tribe of Yahudah.
Amen.
In our lifetime and in our days, and in the lifetime of the entire house of Yasharallah, speedily and soon, and say Amen.
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 May his great name be blessed forever.
May his great name be blessed forever.
And to all eternity blessed.
And to all eternity blessed.
May his great name be blessed forever, and to all eternity blessed and praised, glorified, exalted, and extolled, honored, adored, and lauded be the name of the Holy One. Blessed be he.
Amen.
Beyond all the blessings, hymns, and consolations that are uttered in the world, and say Amen.
Amen.
Yahweh Shapat Yatapatak Wapaya Yagaya Tahalafka. Yahweh, open my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praise.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, our power, and the power of our fathers, power of Abraham, power of Yatzakak, power of Yaquab, the great, mighty, and revered Elohim, the most high power who bestows loving kindnesses, the creator of all things, who remembers the good deeds of the forefathers, and in love will bring a redeemer,
Power.
the shield of Abraham.
Amen.
You, Yahweh, are mighty forever. You revive the dead. You have the power to save. You sustain the living with loving kindness. You revive the dead with great mercy. You support the falling, heal the sick, set free the bound, and keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, O doer of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a king who puts to death and restores to life, and causes salvation to flourish? And you are certain to revive the dead. Barakatah Yahweh, who revives the dead.
Amen.
We will sanctify your name in this world, just as it is sanctified in the highest heavens. As it is written by your prophets, and they call out one to another and say,
Kodash, Kodash, Kodash.
Kodash, Kodash, Kodash.
Is Yahweh of hosts.
Is Yahweh of hosts.
The whole earth.
The whole earth
is full of his glory.
is full of his glory. Those facing them praise Yahweh, saying,
Blessed be the presence of Yahweh.
Blessed be the presence of Yahweh
In his place.
in his place. And in your holy words it is written, saying,
Yahweh reigns forever.
Yahweh reigns forever.
Your Elohim.
Your Elohim.
O Zion.
O Zion.
Throughout all generations.
Throughout all generations.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Throughout all generations we will declare your greatness. And to all eternity we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our Elohim, shall never depart from our mouth. For you are a great and holy power and king. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the holy power. You are holy, and your name is holy, and the holy beings praise you daily. Barakatah Yahweh, the holy Elohim.
Amen.
Our power and the power of our fathers, may you be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your commandments. Grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness. Cause us to rejoice in your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth, in love and favor. Yahweh, our power, may you grant your holy Shabbat to us as an inheritance, so that Yasha Allah, who sanctifies your name, may rest in it. Barakatah Yahweh, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Amen.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the sixth day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gate. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven, the earth, the sea. Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasha'Allah, saying, Verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Shabbat, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his peoples. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yasha'Allah shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Yasha'Allah forever. Please Yahweh our Elohim with your people Yasha'Allah, and with their prayers. Restore the service to the inner sanctuary of your temple, and receive in love and with favor both the fire offerings of Yasha'Allah and their prayers. May the worship of your people Yasha'Allah always be acceptable to you, and let our eyes behold your return in mercy to Zion. Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
who restores his divine presence to Zion.
Amen.
We give thanks to you that you are Yahweh our Elohim, and the power of our fathers forever and ever. Through every generation, you have been the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation. We will give you thanks and declare your praise for our lives that are committed into your hands, for our souls that are entrusted to you, for your miracles that are daily with us, and for your wonders and your benefits that are with us at all times, evening, morning, and noon. O excellent one, your mercies never fail. O merciful one, your loving kindnesses never cease. We have always put our hope in you. For all these acts, may your name be blessed and exalted continually. O our King, forever and ever, let every living thing give thanks to you and praise your name in truth. O Elohim, our salvation and our help. Selah. Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
whose name is the excellent one, and to whom it is fitting to give thanks.
Amen.
Grant peace, welfare, blessing, grace, loving kindness, and mercy to us, and to all Yasha'Allah, your people. Bless us, Abanawa, one and all, with the light of your countenance, for by the light of your face you have given us, Yahweh, our power, a Torah of life, loving kindness and salvation, blessing, mercy, life, and peace. May it please you to bless your people, Yasha'Allah, at all times, and in every hour with your peace. Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
who blesses his people, Yasha'Allah, with shalom.
Amen.
How excellent is thy loving kindness, O Yahweh. Therefore the children of things, O Elohim, who is like unto thee? Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Aleinu.
It is our duty to praise the Master of all, to ascribe greatness to the author of creation, who has not made us like the nations of the land, nor placed us like the families of the earth, who has not made our portion like theirs, nor our destiny like all other multitudes, for they worship vanity and emptiness, and pray to Allah Elohim who cannot save.
But we bow
And worship
and thank the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He,
who extends the heavens and establishes the earth, whose throne of glory is in the heavens above,
in His power's presence in the highest of heights. He is our Elohim, there is no other.
Truly, He is our King, there is none else. As it is written in this Torah, you shall know, take to heart this day, that Yahweh, He is.
Exalted and hallowed be his great name.
Amen.
Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Give the king thy judgments, O Elohim, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall their blood be in his sight. His name shall endure forever. His name shall be continued as long as the sun, and men shall be blessed in him. All nations shall call him blessed. He is despised, but he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased Yahweh to bruise him. He has put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. So he shall see seed and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Blessed be Yahweh, Elohiah, the Elohiah of Yashar Allah, who doeth wondrous things. Shami Katonom. Shami Elohayaka, Wabakal Ma'adka. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power is one, and thou shalt love Yahweh thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. La aya hayalaka alahaya makariam ilpania la amaka la adatazak la. I am Yahweh that brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You should witness. You should not covet anything that pertains to your neighbor. Basham, Yahawashi, Hamashiach, Hallelujah, Tawada, Damyad, Aman. Makwara Hatawara, reading of the Torah. Anybody got the Isaiah done?
It's in the back.
Hmm?
It's in the back.
Waya Kanan? What's on the back?
The portions.
Oh. Waya Kanan, right? No, Vayet Kanan. All right. Starting at Deuteronomy 4, verse 4. 3:23 to 4:4. Was this hanging up somewhere?
It's over here, but it don't seem.
Who put it? Was this over here?
It was on the floor.
No, it fell down, had some movement. All right, so Deuteronomy 3:23 to Deuteronomy 7:1 through 26, and the Besorah, Luke 3:2 through 15. Mashah sees the land of Canaan. He commands obedience. Cities of refuge on the east of Jordan. We see the greatest commandment also, and Moses warns the people against disobedience in North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean, and scattered throughout places like India, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Oman, Turkey, are indeed the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, according to the curses and the description and characteristics found in Genesis chapter 49, Leviticus chapter 26, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and Deuteronomy chapter 33, bro. Can you move up a little bit? There's no people, look. There's no place. No. Are you ready? Okay, so we are the children of Yasha Allah, representing the Mashara Yasha Allah, which is the government of Israel, under the Articles of Belief, okay? Under the Articles of Belief, which includes the Yahweh is the Father, Yahweh is the Son, and the Messiah of all Yasha Allah. The Holy Spirit, which is in the scriptures, written of and talked about by King David. The word of Yahweh is the Torah, the Tanakh, the Septuagint, and the 1611 and 1569 Bible, and the ancient Torah scrolls are used for determining and reviewing all of our beliefs, for doctrine and for reproof. All right. The Torah is our law. It should be taught in every assembly. Holy convocations, which is the three listed in Leviticus 23. Also the new moon, which is the black moon, and also the Shabbat from so-called Friday night until so-called Saturday night. Grace from Yahweh to give us a chance to repent of our sins. Wisdom, the breath of Yahweh that gives us the counsel of the Most High. The family structure of the man is at his own discretion. One or more than one wife is his business, his discretion. Both people in the marriages must understand about the terms and the parameters of those marriages according to the Torah and according to Rabbeinu Yahushua HaMashiach, our chief rabbi, Yahushua HaMashiach, who left the records for us to review. The government of Yasha Allah composed of judges and officers, elders, Levites, all right, is the authority of Yasha Allah now, based upon the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, all right, and unity of the house of Judah and the house of Israel, so-called Latinos and Indians and so-called Negroes, will become one body under Malak Dawad, King David, who's going to lead us in the wilderness and the Exodus, which will be gathered from all of the four corners of the world, placed into the wilderness in the land of Israel after that as an eternal king. All right, so go ahead with Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 23.
And I besought Yahweh at the time, saying, O Yahweh, Adonai, thou hast begun to show thy servant thy greatness and thy strong hand, for what Adonai is there in heaven or on earth that can do anything according to thy works and according to thy mighty acts. Let me go over, I pray thee, and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, that goodly hill country and Lebanon, but Yahweh was wroth with me, and your sakes, and hearken not unto me. And Yahweh said unto me, let it suffice thee,
Let me be enough for you.
no more unto me of this matter.
Music.
Get thee up into the top of Pisgah, and lift up thine eyes westward and northward and southward and eastward. And behold, with thine eyes, for thou shalt not go over this Jordan, but charge Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall go over it before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which thou shalt see. And we abode in the valley over against Beth Peor, Parashah of and unto the ordinances which I teach you, and to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which Yahweh the Elohim your fathers giveth you, and ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish from it, that ye keep my commandments of Yahweh your Elohim, which command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did in Baal Peor for all the men that followed the Baal of Peor, and Yahweh the Elohim hath destroyed them from the midst of the, but ye that did cleave unto Yahweh your Elohim are alive, every one of you, this day. That was verse 4.
All right, summarize.
Yahweh was saying that Mashah won't see the land that's past Jordan, and that he was like saying that he was talking about like the cities that they he was talking about the cities and stuff that they went to. And,
All right, so, go ahead.
He said that he destroyed all the people from Baal Peor from them. So that's it.
So one of the most important elements that we read in here is that Yahweh says, don't add to his word or take away from it. Don't add to the commandments that Mashah has given us through Yahweh, and don't take away from it. There's a lot of that's going on now. People want to add and take away from the Torah and want to make you think that the Torah isn't valid today because Hamashiach came, or legal code and our spiritual guide in all situations. Everybody understand that? Your life has to be lived by the Torah. If you are not living by the Torah, then when you die, Yahweh will give you a second death. Is that clear? If anybody don't understand that, please raise your hand. If you violate the Torah, Yahweh will give you a second death. Now, we hardly want to experience the first death, right? So now when you violate the Torah consciously, and you reject everything in the Torah, what's the main thing in the Torah that people, well, let me not ask that question. One of the main things in the Torah that people want to reject is the Messiah himself, which is talked about all throughout the Torah. So people want to reject the Hamashiach. They want to reject the Messiah. People want to reject that they can't eat pig. People want to reject that Yahweh said you can eat meat. They want to reject bits and pieces of the Torah. So for every piece of the Torah that they reject, that's going to be a second death that Yahweh is going to put upon you. You're going to destroy our souls if we don't walk in Torah. Yahushua is Hamashiach that was promised by Yahweh. That he is the redeemer of our souls, as prophesied in the Torah, as prophesied by all of the prophets. Everybody understand that? He is that seed of the woman that was going to bruise the head of the serpent. He is that star that was going to rise up in Jacob. He is that son of the king that's going to redeem our souls that we read about where? In Isaiah 63, and before Isaiah 63, where was it written at? Huh? What king wrote about it? And where did he write about it? When the Holy Spirit came upon him. Huh? So in Psalm 72, we read about the son of the king. Con? Read it. It was all there. It's all there. So when you reject Yahushua, you're rejecting the king. He's our chief rabbi. There's no other chief rabbi over Yahushua. Now, he didn't write a whole, Shulchan Aruch. He didn't write a Mishnah. But he told you exactly what you needed to know, and it's up to you to go and dig through the crates. And you got to piece his words with two key elements in the scriptures. What are the two key elements we have to piece? Which is never talked about by nobody in any detail, right? Chokmah, Chokmah. I mean, who even talks about Chokmah? They're so busy trying to see what this rabbi said or that rabbi said. They don't look at that the source of all knowledge and wisdom is right under their noses. But they need a mediator to tell them what this really over here means. When the mediator really supposed to be Chokmah or Chokmah. She's the mother of all knowledge. So Chokmah is one element that must be matched up to the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. And we look in the Pirkei Avot, it has the different pieces of wisdom from our brothers that were teachers of the Torah, but a lot of what they're saying are just right? Proverbs, even the Psalms, even Job, okay? Ecclesiasticus, Ecclesiastes. These are all books of Chokmah that she wrote for us. And then you can see different parts of the prophets that have different elements of Chokmah. And you see what Paul was writing is different elements of Chokmah. A lot of things that Paul is saying are reflected inside of other legal texts that we had in the different communities that Yasha'Allah had around the world. But he doesn't give all of the details. In other words, we have so-called rabbis that said, well, if you're starving, you can eat an unclean piece of meat if you're starving, if you're about to die. Because the preservation of your soul is more important than a particular mitzvah. But then people want to condemn Paul when he says, oh, if you go to the market and they serve food, they have food that was offered to idols, you can buy it if you need to eat to preserve your life. So people don't understand that it's Chokmah, that Yahushua, everybody's words must be measured by. And what is the other measurement of Yahushua's words besides Chokmah? Torah, the Torah. The Torah. You see? So these are the things we have to understand. What does the Most High tell us in what is it, Devarim, the volume 15 and 18? What does he tell us? I believe it's 15, 18, living in a ghetto like us, somebody that's getting the short end of the stick like us, somebody that's being oppressed like us. Why is they going to be raised up? In order for you to raise up, you got to be what? You got to be low. So this is a person that's going to come from the worst places. I will raise them up a prophet from among them, like their brethren, all right, like unto them, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command. Now, what's worse? Yahushua saying this woman was caught in adultery, but if you without sin, cast the first stone. Is that wrong? He's saying, okay, you want to judge? You need to be perfect in what you're judging about. You need to be perfect in order for you to issue this judgment of what? Of death against her. He didn't say that for all things. If you want to kill this lady for this capital crime that she committed, are you without sin yourself to do that? Right? And they saying you're not without sin. Now, as opposed to what we were talking about last night, what's it called? The eruv, right? The moving, making yourself a temporary tabernacle, a temporary house, so you can double the distance that you walk on a Shabbat. Now, is that against Torah or not? You making, or Yahweh say, people say that Yahweh said you can only travel from here to here. And that's your dwelling quarters to this town. So now we can go from here and we can double the distance of our journey on a Shabbat. Does the Torah say that? So in essence, the so-called rabbis did the same thing that who did? Who did that same stuff? We're going to go in this book, we're going to make different rules, and you got to go by these rules that we make over here. Who else did that? Catholic Church did it. The Catholic Church did it. Oh, you got to go through this same. Oh, you got to do that. You got to put action on your forehead. They made up rules, and so-called rabbis made up rules, all of which challenge rules, and so-called rabbis made up rules, all of which challenge the purity of what we read inside of the Torah. True or false? It challenges the purity of it. It says, don't do this. And you say, well, you can do it if X, Y, Z. Okay? So that's what we have to understand. So you cannot add or take away from the laws of your house. What you can do is explain it and put parameters of how to exercise this law. Remember the Shabbat to keep it holy. Okay, well, what's holy? What's holy? Is it battle between Jeezy and Yo Gotti? Is that holy? No, it's not holy. We shouldn't even be involved in that at all. So I can't do that on Shabbat day. These things aren't holy. We have to know what is holy. So now you have to define in your own self and in your life what is holy. And how does that compare to who? Chakma, Yahawashi, and Dawada. Is it holy? Is it set apart? Is it pure? Is it yielding unto salvation? To go out there and kick the soccer ball. We're going to play soccer all day on the Shabbat. Is that holy? It's not holy, so you can't do it. So when it says remember the Shabbat to what? It says remember the Shabbat la kodash, zakar ha-Shabbat la. Remember the Shabbat for the purpose of being able to keep it holy. Isn't that? So we can't take away from his laws. We can't take away from his laws. And Yahweh gave Mashah the ability to see the glory that was coming upon the children of Yasharallah. But he's going to actually allow us to walk in there once we're redeemed from the lands of our captivity. According to where? What's the main text in the Bible you go to show somebody? This shows you that we're going to be redeemed, we're going to be gathered, we're going to be put into the wilderness, and we're going back into our homeland. Where's the main text? What's the main text, your go-to text to show somebody that key important point? Huh? Anybody? So I say people have ears, but they don't hear. Any text that shows us that. Give me a book. Give me a prophet. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33 to roughly 38, 39 tells you we're going to be gathered from the places we were scattered and we're going to be put back into our homeland after we go into the wilderness. Okay? So we finished, your aliyah's finished, right? All right, next, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 4 through 40. Verse 5 through 40, Salaki.
Murder, Parashah, God, Parashah.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 through 40. And as you're reading, make mental notes of the verses that you need to come back to and give more detail. We need to be able to hear you. So, all right, go ahead. 5 through 40.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my Elohai commanded me, that you should go in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who hath Elohai so nigh unto them, as Yahweh our Elohai is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so distinct? Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, unless they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before Yahweh thy Elohai in Horeb, when he said unto me, gather the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And they came near and stood on the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire into the midst of the heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And Yahweh spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you the statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spoke unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Lest thou lift up thine eyes into heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahweh the Elohai hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. But Yahweh hath taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. Furthermore, Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and sware that I should not go over Jordan, and that I should not go unto that good land, which Yahweh the Elohai giveth thee for an inheritance, that I must die in the land. Take heed unto yourselves, lest ye forget the covenant of Yahweh your Elohai, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything which Yahweh the Elohai hath forbidden thee. For Yahweh the Elohai is a consuming fire, even a jealous Elohai. When thou beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and ye shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahweh thy Elohai, to provoke him to anger. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land, whereunto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither Yahweh shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods, the works of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence thou shalt seek Yahweh thy Elohim, thou shalt find him, and if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even the latter days, if thou turn to Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt be obedient unto his voice. For Yahweh thy Elohim is a merciful Elohim. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that Elohim created man upon the earth. Ask from one side of the heavens to the other, whether there have been any such thing as this great thing is, or hath been heard of it, or hath been heard like it. Did every people hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou wast heard and lived? Or hath Elohim essayed to go and to take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your Elohim did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Unto thee it was showed that thou mightest know that Yahweh, he is Elohim, there is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee, and upon earth he showed thee his great fire, and thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire, Egypt, to drive out nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance, as it is this day. Know therefore this day, and consider it in thine heart, that Yahweh, he is Elohim in heaven above, and on the earth beneath, there is none else. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth, which Yahweh the Elohim giveth thee forever.
Okay. Very good, very good. A lot of gems in here, man. I don't know where you gonna start at. You need some help? Let me know. I tell you, I got some good notes here. Yeah, go ahead and just give a midrash on it.
So Moses is telling the people that them and to keep them, and if they do that, then the nations are gonna they're gonna look on them with like respect and say that there's no other nation like them, and that Yahweh's with them, and he's telling them that they need to keep them like good, and teach them to their children and their children's children, so that and he's telling them that to remember when Yahweh spoke to them when they were in Horeb, and there was like a loud voice coming from the mountain, and the mountain was on fire, and like that nobody else heard the voice of Yahweh and lived, and they didn't see a face from that voice. It was just a voice that came from the mountain, and he told them, Yahweh was commanding them to keep the laws that he's teaching them, so that when they go over to the land, they won't corrupt themselves by making idols of anything that's on the earth or in heaven, and that they worship them. And even if they do, if they go back to Yahweh to like worship him and to repent, then Yahweh's going to listen to them because he's merciful. And
What's it?
and he's telling them to ask like about times that were before them, and to like know about everything that was before them. And he wants them to remember when Yahweh took them out of Egypt, and that they knew that he was Elohim, and there's no other Elohim beside him, from when he took them out of Egypt, and all like the signs that he did, And to remember that there's only Yahweh, like He's the one that's helping them,
Okay.
and then worship Him.
Any more to that?
When they keep the commandments, like as long as they keep them, then they'll be living for a long time. It looks like prolonging the days, make it the same.
Okay. All right, good. Just to start where you left off at, prolong the days is like you're gonna be, your life is gonna be extended, happy, healthy, in a carnal level. All right? So it says when we keep the commandments, He's gonna prolong our life. Everybody understand that? So now, when we keep the commandments fully and we die in our flesh, then our life will be prolonged eternally when we resurrect. Everybody understand that? Because keeping the commandments is, the Messiah is part of the commandments, as we saw in Deuteronomy 18:18. And whoever doesn't listen to that rabbi, the scriptures say is going to be required of his soul. The Most High speak in my name, I will require it of him. So if you disobey the voice of Yahweh speaking through Yahweh Shi Hamashiach, the prophet Rabbeinu, our rabbi, our chief, our high chief rabbi, there's no other chief rabbi. That's why he said, don't even call any other man Rav after me. Rav or Rabbiah. Don't even call anybody else a great one. What does Rav mean? People say it means teacher, but it means great one. Rav means great. Like Torah, Rabbah, great thanks. So Rabbi is my great one, my greatness. Rav, he's just a great person. All right. So now, once we understand that the whole Torah works together, is that the short one or long one? It was on top. Let me see this. No, the short one. Once you understand that this life, what we see now going on, is temporal. Everything you see before your eyes in this kingdom, whatever part of the world you're living in, is going to be destroyed. Maybe with a few exceptions. But in the Western Hemisphere, in America's going to be totally destroyed. America is modern Babylon. It's modern Egypt, okay? So it's going to be destroyed. So you have to find the security of your salvation in Torah, in Torah. And that comes through also understanding and accepting Hamashiach. Everybody understand that? Okay, now just to review on a couple of things that Amaria said. Yahweh gave the statutes that we're supposed to observe through Mashah. It's not Mashah's own mouth, him saying these things. You understand? Yahweh is speaking through Mashah to tell you exactly what he wants us to do. Okay? That's number one. Torah. So once you understand the wisdom in the Torah, the Torah, now you can understand the wisdom in the other books that are written about wisdom. But first you have to understand Torah, Torah. We're not going to be able to attain unto Chakma. You're not going to be able to attain unto Chakma without understanding the Torah, without understanding Torah. Everybody understand that? So you have to be walking in it first. You understand that? If you do it, you will live. If a man walk in these statutes, he will live. If you don't walk in them, you won't live. So people think it's talking about just the physical self. I can break this law because there's an exception to this. If I need to eat something unlawful. See, this is the mentality that led to our people doing what? Eating our babies at the siege of the Romans upon Jerusalem from 66 to 70 AD. We were eating our babies. Eating our babies in the siege when we were invaded by Babylon in the time of Jeremiah. So we can't make no exceptions to violating Torah, even if our life is at stake. We see in the Maccabees, 2 Maccabees chapter 7, with the 7 sons that they didn't make no compromise. So there was no written Mishnah at this time period, which was what, roughly 2nd century BC, that said, oh, if your life is threatened, you can eat this piece of pork. If your life is threatened, you can do it. It's something somebody else made up later on, man. Yahweh didn't say, right? So what happens? Some weak teacher comes along and says, well, if you really want to live, it means that you keep his commandments to obey him so you can live. And if you disobey him to live, and that's okay too. Sounds foolish, doesn't it? But this is an actual rabbinical concept that's taught. And people want to say, well, this is the oral. No, it's not the oral law. It ain't the oral. That's a lie. Yahweh never said that. And the examples that we see are opposite of what that doctrine teaches. You understand? And disobedience. When you disconnect yourself from Allah Shaddai, El Shaddai, Hashem Kodash, the holy name, Yahweh. What happens when you disconnect yourself from him and you die in that disconnect? Are you dying in life or are you dying in death? Are you going to resurrect unto life or resurrect unto death? Whatever you like, that's what you put your hand to. So if you put your hand to death, when you resurrect, you're going to resurrect to death. Everybody understand that? So stop thinking you can make exceptions. They have to go together. They can't contradict each other. And wisdom says he has given no man license to what?
Sin.
To sin. So who give you a license to sin? Some rabbi somewhere?
Opinion.
You see? Now, what's the big deal about these 10 commandments? Because the mountain was on fire. Because it was thunder and lightning, there was smoke everywhere, and we heard the voice of the Most High Power. Nobody else on the planet Earth can say they ever heard the voice of their Creator. Nobody. Nobody. Only Moses can say that. Only Yahweh can say that when he was getting baptized. They heard a voice saying, this is my son in whom I am well pleased. Constantine can't say that. Buddha can't say that. Okay? Muhammad can't say that. Everybody heard Allah talking to Muhammad. Here's the witnesses. Here's the accounts. We all as a nation heard Yahweh give us these commandments. And how dare anybody come and tell us, don't keep that no more. He said, I am the Lord Yahweh. You should not make unto thee any graven image, and you should not serve them. You should not bow down to them. So what do you got me doing when I say, okay, I'm a Muslim now? What do you got me doing when I go to Mecca? What do you got me doing? Huh? You got me
Walking around the rock.
You got me bowing down to kiss a rock. How can you say this is the God of Israel? This is the God of the Torah. When he says don't bow down or worship nothing, and you tell me to bow down to the rock. What does the word worship mean? It's a simple word. What does it mean?